Why is the Department of Interior grounding their fleet of over 800 drones? Stick around and I'll tell you what's going on. Hey everybody, this is Charles Black with Draco Aerial. So back in October, the Department of the Interior started grounding all their civilian drones. And recently, they just moved forward to make that grounding permanent. So what's going on? What would cause them to suddenly just drop their entire drone program and just ground their whole fleet of drones? But first, let's look at what the Department of Interior actually does with drones. You know, they got 810 drones. They've got pilots, observers, but what are they using them for? So if you don't know what the Department of Interior is using drones for, or if you don't know what the Department of Interior is, let me explain. So, real brief summary on their mission is the mission of the Department of Interior is to conserve and manage the natural resources and cultural heritage for the benefit of the people of the United States. That's what they do. But they have a bunch of bureaus underneath them. Actually, they have 10 different bureaus. And this includes the National Park Service, which we're all familiar with the National Park Service if you fly drones, Bureau of Land Management, and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services. So those are some of the bureaus that are underneath the Department of Interior that you're going to be very familiar with. Now, the Department of the Interior has been using drones for the last several years, and they pretty much use them for monitoring wildfires. You know, you see it in the news, a wildfire burns thousands of acres. Well, they actually go out and they map all of this wildfire damage. They also use it to monitor wildlife, endangered species. And they also use it for surveying public lands here in the United States. Now, I've personally flown for several of these agencies as an independent contractor. I've done things from mapping to searching and locating geographical areas. I've even done aerial photography for criminal investigations for illegal activity on public lands. One of the biggest ones I did was documenting aerial documentation on a big illegal dump site. So why are they grounding all their drones? If they've got this large fleet, it is large compared to my fleet. But if they've got this large fleet and all this investment, and drones have become such a useful resource, why are they getting rid of them? Why are they grounding them? Well, to get to that answer, we need to back up 3 years. Okay, this all started 3 years ago, 2017, when the U.S. Army shut down its entire program where they were utilizing DJI drones. Now, the Army was concerned about the risks and mission-sensitive information being collected by Chinese technology. You know, that can make a little bit of sense on a national security level, but we're talking public land, like deserts with nothing. Most of the filming I do, vlogging, photos, I take out on BLM land. So, in October, just last year, 2019, the Department of Game and Fish shut down their entire program. Department of the Interior was restricting and wanted to shut it down. But now, this is permanent. They just put out, this is permanent. No more Chinese manufactured drones. Now, I personally see this as more of a major issue between large government organizations, just not talking to each other, willing to work with each other. That's where I see this issue personally. You know, and let me just say this, that the Army and Department of Defense, I don't see them included in this because they got a bigger mission and their stuff's a little more sensitive. But between the Department of the Interior and the FAA, why couldn't the two have worked together? You know, let's look at this. Since drones have been integrated into our national airspace, the FAA has been continuously adding new requirements for both recreational and commercial. Now, with this newest remote ID coming out, in fact, if you're not familiar with it or you haven't seen the video yet, you can click up above one of these sides and you can watch my video on the FAA remote identification. Okay, so now we got the remote ID coming out. We're going to be getting more information. And with the FAA requiring more and more personal information from civilian operators, I'm sure they're doing the same thing with the Department of the Interior. We've all got to put in the same information to get our drone to fly. I see more and more of the possibilities of some of this information being hacked. Don't tell me it can't be done, because it's been done before, it'll be done again. And if it's not hacked through your drone, it could be hacked through a government computer. So where's the balance here? I can honestly see where the FAA and the Department of Interior could have worked closer together. Maybe the FAA could have done something that didn't require a federal agency to input all of this sensitive or personal information to get their drones to fly. This could have been done probably fairly easily. Or the other option, which the Department of Interior wants to look at, is an American-made drone. Now, if you live in the U.S., of course, everybody wants to see buy American. Well, that sounds better than buying a Chinese. Let's support an American company. But how realistic is that? The drone might be built in the U.S., but think about all those little processors and chipsets and your GPS and your RTK systems. All that fine little technology, that's all made overseas. It's either coming out of China, Taiwan, it's coming from overseas. Let's just say we did manufacture it here in the United States. We built the drone here in the United States. The entire software program was made here in the United States. It's still susceptible to hacking. They hack government computers all the time. They can hack a drone. They can hack a government program with all this information. I don't see being American-made solving the issue. Okay? Now, with DJI controlling more than 70% of the drone industry for civilian and public safety, I don't know what the government is going to do to develop their own drone for mapping and surveying. So what I can't see is a BLM firefighter behind the controls of an MQ-1 Predator, you know, loaded down with Hellfire missiles, flying just outside of your town, conducting a survey from where a wildfire was just put out. I really don't see that. It would be quite interesting to see, though. All right, what's your opinion on this grounding of all these Chinese-made drones by the Department of the Interior, now that they've made this permanent? Is it good? Is it bad? Is there a solution? Can you come up with a solution? Not that they're going to listen to us anyway. But if you were in charge, what would your solution be? Let me know in the comments. All right. Make sure you like, comment, and hit that bell notification so you get updated when I put my next video out. And until next time, fly safe, and I am out of here.
About to leave, already packing. Come with me, I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know